just drink our coffee. I need to do my buttons up.
Hi team, welcome back. This week we're doing a Q&A. It's exciting, isn't it?
It's so exciting.
You get to ask all the questions you've always wanted to ask me, and I'll tell you all the answers.
Ooh.
It's like truth or dare, but there's no dare.
It's not like that at all.
It's just truth.
It's just a Q&A. Come on.
How did you develop your own style? For me, developing my own style came from, one, looking very closely at the artists who I really liked and admired, and especially the figurative and the portraiture work, trying to understand what it was about their work that I liked, taking that and trying to play with it, replicate it, and experiment. And through that experimentation, my style slowly evolved. I really love big portraits, big figurative work. It slowly just adapted over time. And actually, although people might think I've got one style, I see that as having changed a lot over time.
It's definitely changed a lot.
Sometimes I've ended up going through processes where I've actually ended up in a place where I'm not as happy with how I'm painting, and the style's become too refined, too precise, and it's not actually what I've wanted to be doing, but you just end up going from painting to painting. And it's sometimes quite good to have a break, to stop and re-examine your own work with fresh eyes, to keep going back to those artists whose work you like and keep questioning what it is about it that draws you to it. And then after that, it's just experimentation, trying different materials, trying different techniques, finding what works, and trying to be happy with the process that allows you to progress your painting and not get too attached to any one thing. Just experimentation, looking at other work and having fun with it, letting accidents happen on the canvas. Tips on starting my own art page. I'm shy about it.
What kind of page?
I'm presuming, well, I mean, that's it. I think this question is really two parts. It's one, tips on starting an art page, and two, I'm shy about it. Those are two different things. We'll start with starting your own art page. I think the best thing to do, there's so many platforms out there for expressing and sharing your work. Facebook, Instagram, websites, Etsy, loads of places where you can put out work, people are able to see it. But in terms of doing it, I think you just got to put your insecurities? Put them to one side and just start sharing the work that you're creating. Don't be too worried if it's not if it's not perfect, if it's not the way you want it to be in your head yet, because there's no final piece. It's not like a school exam where there's a final thing you're going to be marked on. Your work's always going to be evolving and changing, and so the important thing is to just keep practicing, put it out there. And as you start putting it out there, people are going to see it. You'll know when it's good enough, because people are going to say to you, I really like that, and you'll find your own audience. That's the best thing about all these social media places, is that there's an audience for everything. And if you look at the styles and the artists that you're influenced by, that those communities will form around them, and you're likely to share similar followers. People who like their work might like your work if it's in a similar vein. So it's about just putting that work out there and letting that audience grow. In terms of being shy about it, there's a couple of things you can do. One is to create a pseudonym.
Yeah.
So you can have an artist name.
Like
so
Banksy.
Like Banksy. To protect you, give you some anonymity. And how do I say that word?
Anonymity.
In that way, if you're worried about your friends seeing or people you know, you can put this out and you can be completely protected from it, and that will again allow you to experiment and find your style and find your rhythm.
Also, if you just show your work to a couple of close friends or family, then you'll probably gain a lot of confidence from that, because they'll probably encourage you to do it, and then that will push you on. Yes,
but I think there's also a risk that, I'm always very conscious of the fact that sometimes it's very hard to get good feedback, because either you don't know if they've got the same interest in art as you, or if they're just being polite.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Especially if there's someone that's doing something that's quite different, maybe not so mainstream.
I guess so.
I think the important thing to do is just get out of your own way and just get started. Once you get started, you find a rhythm of it. It's easier and easier to put yourself out there just by doing it that first time. But do it, you'll enjoy it.
Who should be the next James Bond? I know.
You know?
I know who it's going to be.
You don't know who it's going to be?
I do.
Okay, who's it going to be?
I'm not telling you.
Who's going to be the next James Bond? I think it would be a crying shame if Henry Cavill never plays James Bond, because he's perfect for James Bond.
You really like him.
He's a legend. He's great. He looks like James Bond.
Yeah.
He's suave, he's cool. I don't think he will be, but I think he should be.
He's been Superman.
I know, but imagine being Superman and James Bond.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'll tell you who it's going to be, and I don't know his name.
Okay, describe him to me.
But he's the guy who was in. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to look up his name. His name is Callum Turner.
Okay.
Callum Turner, him.
Maybe, yeah. Could be
Maybe.
a young James Bond. The other person I thought could be a James Bond is a guy that was in About a Boy and Skins and X-Men.
A little boy with the woolly hat.
Yeah, but then he grows up and he's in everything now, and he's like a Hollywood star.
He used to go
But again,
out,
he's a bit
he used to
young.
go out with.
I don't know.
Quick, what's her name?
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, thank God, Jennifer Lawrence. They used to go out.
Really?
God, for that, I thought it was gonna.
Right.
My brain. Right, next.
What has been the pit and peak of your career so far? I think there's been more peaks than pits.
There's been a few armpits, hasn't there?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking at it, you know.
No, of course there has been, but
There's-
I mean, don't marry an artist. That's all I say.
I think first getting signed by a publisher, because I was so early on in my career, it meant that I could go from this idea of being an artist and painting full time to suddenly it being a reality within about 6 months of me having first really painted properly, knowing that I could have work going into galleries and being sold and being paid for my work up front. It just made it a reality, and so that very early conversation I had with the publisher and then taking me on board definitely sticks in my mind in terms of a peak.
What about other peaks?
It sounds weird, but also leaving the publisher,
Yeah.
it was, they gave me,
That wasn't my peak.
it was just exciting to know that I felt prepared enough, I was experienced enough at that point that I felt confident enough to be able to leave the publisher, which had given me the big break. So that was quite self-affirming that I had that confidence to do that at the time. There were difficulties after that, but knowing that I was getting regular interest in commissions and people wanting to buy my work.
But that was a very hard year following that, leaving the publisher.
Yeah.
Very hard.
And that was probably, I mean, that I think
that was the trough.
That was the trough, would be just the slog of 2019. No one specific part, but just the people cancelling commissions without, or disappearing after commissioning work, saying things were going to be sold and then not, and just not. I think that the real low point was just not quite questioning what I thought my plan was, suddenly not knowing if that was the right direction to be going, and feeling lost. I think there is that feeling of lost. I didn't know whether I should be doing wildlife painting, whether I should be saying to galleries, whether I should be trying to do portraiture, trying to do something completely different, and it just felt like I didn't know which way to turn, really, did I?
No, it was tricky, but got through it.
I think in a way that was probably another peak, was suddenly getting through it and things picking up again and just being able to breathe that sense of relief.
Yeah.
I'm a portrait artist. How can I make money from painting?
You can't.
Again, there's levels to this. It depends if you want to make a bit of money from it as a side hustle, as a hobby, or if you want to become full-time doing it as a career. If you just want to make a bit of money from it as a side business, there's plenty of ways you can do it. Similar to starting your own art page, it's just getting your work out there and getting people seeing it, practicing, developing your own style, not trying to make money from it straight away, but just repeatedly doing it. As people see that you're working, if they like it, people will start coming to you asking if it's available for purchase or if you do commissions, things like that. You can also use sites like Etsy and Fiverr where you can put it there for sale. You can now put things for sale through Instagram and Facebook have their own marketplace.
They've got a shop, don't they?
Yeah, and you can put it on, for cheap if you just want to make.
And anyone can use that Instagram feature, I think.
You might have to set yourself up as a business or a creator, but that's really easy to do on Instagram. And then you can just put things there and choose your price point. Start low, work your way up. I think that's the best way of doing it. But just don't wait for a big commission to come in or a gallery or anything like that. Just keep doing your work, keep practicing, putting it out there. If you keep that price low, people will start coming in and buying that, and then you can slowly start building up as you become more confident with your painting, and you start it develops. If you're looking to do it more as a career, it's not an easy career to take on. So I'd be very confident in your ability and where you're at before trying to take it on. I'd make sure you have plenty of savings, have a good selection of contacts, or at least start getting involved in the art world.
I was going to say, would you say the best thing to do would be to immerse yourself into the art world, or do you think not?
There's so many different ways you can have a career in the art world, but there's no one set path. But there's no harm in definitely seeing what sort of galleries show art, similar art to the art that you're creating, what sort of art fairs are showing similar work. There's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of galleries and fairs who will try and tell you that they'll do no commission sales for you, but there's an upfront fee. You've got to be very careful about spending any money up front for anything like that. Respectable artists don't pay money up front for a zero commission sales basis. That's just not what they do. In a similar way, just keep practicing and you'll know when the time is right, because people will just keep asking you if that's available, and at that point you can think about switching over and doing it more full time.
It's a tricky one. It's not easy.
It's very difficult without knowing your work as well, what that point is. But a lot of artists end up doing something else and doing it half and half, and that's a pretty good way to go.
Yeah.
What's your favourite colour? I don't really have a favourite colour.
No.
I don't like green very much. I need to do green more.
Why?
I don't know.
You do need to do green more.
Yeah, and my paintings always lack green and yellow, and I know
You do
that.
need to do green. Sorry to repeat myself, but I've just realised.
Yeah, they lack green and yellow, and if the more I have in it, the better.
I wonder what it is that makes you avoid green.
I don't know. I'm drawn more towards reds and blues, which is not good. I need to.
Also, you quite like brown. I know that sounds weird. You do use a lot of brown, like that orangey brown.
Yeah.
Probably take that out.
But yeah, no, I like all. I
really like. Not that you're asking me, but I really like just vibrant colour. I like blue.
You like coral, don't you?
And green.
Was it coral, that pinky?
Yeah, I do like.
Orange?
I do like a sort of pinky orange. Yeah.
Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? Big question. I mean, 10 years ago, I wasn't even painting, so it's hard to envisage what's going to be happening in another 10 years. I mean, first and foremost, I hope that I am still painting. That's the important thing. I hope that the artwork I'm creating then is very different to what I'm doing now, and in a way, it's something that it's something evolved. There's a lot of art that artists do the same thing over and over again for years and years and years. That's really good in a way for them, because it really solidifies their brand. I get too bored, and I don't want that. I want my work to be changing. It's that creative thing that first drew me to art. And if you're not changing and evolving, then you actually really lose that creativity. So I hope my art is just very different from how it is now. And I hope that this channel has grown to become a much, much bigger platform, and that we are able to turn this into its own business in its own right, to showcase other artists, to help people explore and understand the art world in a different way, and for this to really become its own thing. That's why we're in an art sense.
And I will be in the Bahamas.
With your second husband?
Yeah. Me and Barnaby will be in the Bahamas.
Barnaby will be 10. Right, I think we're done.
We're done.
Any last, you'd like to ask a question?
Oh, what's for dinner?
What's for dinner?
What is actually for dinner? I don't know.
I don't know. What is for dinner?
Sausages.
Sausages.
Having sausages.
Where would you like to be in 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, I'd like to be moved out of London, and I'd like to be working alongside you for your business.
Gosh. Well, I'll have to see about that.
That was literally your idea. But no, that would be nice. It'd be nice to be able to work together and build.
Yeah, I should have said that.
Business together.
Where I'd like to be in 10 years, I'd like to have you working
with me,
and Barnaby employed as well.
Barnaby can
clean the chimneys. Great, well I hope that's been insightful and shed some light onto some of the questions you might have. We'll probably do one of these again in the future. If you have more questions, hold on to them or put them down in the comments.
Yeah.
Hopefully, once lockdown's over, we will return to the more normal scheduling of art, my work, and showing you a little bit more of the art world. Hopefully you're going to see some galleries and things, but until then, you're going to see a little bit more of the kitchen. Thanks for watching, enjoy the ad at the end of the video, and we will catch you next week. Okay, Katie, we need to think about how we're going to write this advert, because we need to make sure that people know that they can get 10% off their first order with Jackson's Art Supplies, and that the material there is amazing, and that it's really high quality and really affordable, and they should really make sure they do that.
Yeah.
Also, that they go to my Amazon store to check out the materials that I use. need to make sure we remember to say that.
Yeah.
And that they go to my website. I wanted them to see my limited editions, and really importantly that they join my mailing list. And then most importantly, we need to make sure that they like and subscribe to the video, because that's what's really going to help it grow and more people to see it, and make sure that it just... Katie.